Hi, I'm Sarah from Clay, and today we are comparing the differences in Gourmet resin clay, which is our vanilla clay here, and in polymer clay. In our case, we used Sculpey. The whole reason is to give you alternatives to the tried and tested polymer clay creations, give you some ideas how you can cut down on time, especially when you are trying to emulate a certain color with the polymer clay colors that you already have to achieve a certain result. In our case, this was basically trying to make a vanilla colored dough that we would shape then into croissants, like so. I wanted to give you an alternative and also discuss the benefits of each types of clay. Now, to be very, very clear, I own stacks and stacks of polymer clay. This is where I came from. This is how I started. It's not to bash one or the other. It's just to help you decide which clay for your certain project is best. And yeah, to give you a little bit more knowledge so you achieve the authentic results that you crave. Okay, so now we're making the FIMO croissant first, and as you can see, I have quite a lot of Sculpey polymer clay colors. This is just one of the cassettes, all my yellows labeled. I'm not kidding you when I say I'm obsessed with clay. I have everything. We will definitely need écru, some parts of écru. We will need white, and we will need some translucent Sculpey to create that vanilla dough color. Beyond that, you will need a rolling pin, and then ideally something that will give you like an even surface when you roll it out. These are depth bars, 3 millimeters, and then you will need something to cut out to basically ration or portion your clay, so you can basically say how many parts of écru you have, how many parts of white and translucent clay. So this is basically like a measuring device. And furthermore, you will need some sculpting tools. This is a needle tool for detailing. Here's another needle tool, more like a dentist tool. And then I have, this is actually a Japanese tool. It's called a seven needle tool, but basically what it does, it substitutes for a toothbrush. It's a bit denser, and I have a feeling that I will definitely need it for polymer clay, which is way harder to deal with, way denser due to the oils and the plastic particles than, for example, air dry clay. And lastly, we have some more detailing tools. I have a X-Acto knife, which is disgustingly rusty, and another tissue blade. So without further ado, we're going to start mixing the clay color. I will start running a timer so we can actually figure out how long it takes to create that perfect vanilla dough for our croissant. All right, here comes the moment of truth. I'm starting the timer. I'm trying not to be purposefully slow, putting it next to my camera so we can check in. Okay, so the recipe I have basically calls for 6 parts white, 3 parts transparent, and then 1 or 2 parts écru and a smidgen of yellow ochre. And yeah, I took out my white. Oh my gosh, I forgot how hard it is to work with polymer clay. So here we go. As you have seen, I have many cassettes full with different Sculpey colors. And don't get me wrong, I love polymer clay. I'm not here to crap on anything, but I haven't worked with polymer clay in probably 1.5 years, ever since I discovered Japanese air dry clay for myself, and then started Aura Clay, my brand, because I fell in love with it, and I realized quickly it's basically impossible to get in Europe or the Western world, and that's why. Okay, so 3 millimeters. Let's cut out 6 parts. So what you need to know about polymer clay is that you need to condition it. And because this clay was still quite fresh, it didn't take me a long time. Also, it was a smaller part. And conditioning basically means that you are warming up the oils inside the clay. Let me zoom in a little bit. You're basically warming up the parts inside the clay to make it more pliable, to make it softer, and work with it better. Now, 2 more, 1 and 2. And honestly, I haven't decided yet how big I want my croissant to be, but because I'm filming this on camera, I think it wouldn't be beneficial to have a very small croissant. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's check in. This took us 2 minutes. Not too bad. Okay. Now, next one. I'm looking at my sheet. 3 parts transparent. I have to admit, whenever I work with transparent clay, I always found it really hard to condition. It must be the nature of this clay. There's something inside of it. Yeah, it felt really hard. Ugh. There's something inside of transparent Sculpey that is just so brittle. And it always is. It's not like it's old. Polymer clay can actually get very crumbly over time. And this is when you would reach for liquid Sculpey to make it softer. But honestly, it's, oh damn it. It's going everywhere. It's always been like this for me. I think it's just part of the product feature, unintentional. It's always a bit crumbly. But oh well, let's do our best to cut it out, because we're going to be mixing it with the other polymer clay colors, and therefore it should be smoother, but I don't love how crumbly this is. I used to make a lot of gemstone or fake gemstone dupes with polymer clay, and I still love doing that. Hey look, it worked out for us. We have 3 parts. So 3 parts of transparent polymer clay. We are at minute 3:57. Oops, not too bad. Okay. I feel kind of rushed by this stopwatch, but it was suggested to me to actually put my money where my mouth is and show the process as it is. Does it really take that long? Girl, run a timer. I was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. Okay, écru. This is like a beigey color. So why am I mixing in transparent clay? I've done a little bit of research. I have to admit, I personally didn't entirely come up with this recipe because I don't make any food charms with polymer clay, and I know so many do, and there are amazing polymer clay artists out there. I love watching them work. I celebrate anybody who does anything creative. I think it's the most beautiful gift that we have as humans, like creating something pretty. And they use different recipes. I can link up some amazing artists that actually have way different recipes. So if you find the result of my polymer clay croissant not so great, then you have a resource to fall back onto to check out other very successful people who do it differently, you know? Okay, so I personally have decided to take 2 parts of écru because I feel like it will bring us closer to the doughy vanilla texture, or color rather, that I want the polymer clay to be. Lastly, a little smidgen of yellow ochre. So I do have yellow ochre, that's this one. And yes, I'm obsessed with organizing stuff. Gives me peace of mind. So probably I'm just gonna pinch off a little bit like this. Yeah, this is just like a guesstimate, just eyeballing it. We can always just add more if we need more of a yellow tone, but I think this will do. So next up, we're mixing all those colors together, which I personally always enjoyed very, very much, just mushing together those colors. And I still love doing that. There are amazing Instagram accounts. I think my favorite one is Kyoker or Kyoker. I don't know how to pronounce that. I have many polymer clay cutters from them. And they also offer free PDFs for clay color recipes, completely free of charge. You don't need to sign up, or at least last time I checked, you didn't need to sign up for any type of newsletter to receive it. They were just, from the bottom of their heart, they were just gifting it to us, and I totally love that. It's also a small company, just like Aura Clay, and I think that's beautiful. They truly, truly love what they do. They're just not in for the big money. I don't know them, personally would love to, but I think they're based in Singapore. And yeah, I just applaud them. I just love that. I don't like gatekeeping at all. I don't believe in gatekeeping. I don't think it takes away from us if we share our trade secrets, or some of our, not maybe trade secrets, but like technique secrets as artists. It doesn't take away from us. It doesn't make us worse artists. And I personally, as you will find out, am no artist at all. I'm just a person who enjoys clay and wants to bring it to as many people as I can. Right, so this is the color we have right now. I would say it is a cream vanilla color. It's not as stark white as my tile, my dirty tile. It is not as yellow as this little, stick. You know what? I think I don't want to ruin it. I want to keep it like this because we are going to use some pastel chalks for the shading anyways. So let's keep it as such. And just to measure out how big this is going to be and how much air dry clay, or rather gourmet clay and vanilla, I will need later on. Let's just use this little scoop to gauge how much of clay that is. Yeah, so it's like probably 75% of this little teaspoon. Oh no, I cannot get it out. Here it is. Okay, so how long did it take us? With me chit-chatting, 9 minutes. So it took me about 9 minutes just to get the color right, and I'm gonna stop the timer. 9 minutes for this small piece. Okay, no judgment here, just informing you. So what we're gonna do now is to roll out the clay, and I think I will stick with my 3mm popsicles. And then we're gonna, actually, no, I just changed my mind. Scratch that. I need to cut it out. So what we're gonna do now with this piece of clay is I'm gonna roll it into a banana shape, or a slight banana shape. Oh, I need to texture it better. Yeah, see, this is what I mean. You need to make sure the texture is as homogeneous as possible. And it's very, whoever has worked with polymer clay, it is slightly tacky. And the more you work it, oh man, I think it's too hot now. The more you work with it, the more pliable or liquid or gummy like it gets. So worst case scenario, if you feel like your polymer clay is too sticky, you can actually put it in the fridge, let it cool off a little bit. But I'm gonna try my best now. So I'm using 2 fingers like that to gently roll out the shape. I'm trying to achieve a shape where the middle is slightly thicker than the outer edges, the outer corners, like so. And let me see how big I want it to be. And I want it to be a little bit chunky, like I don't want it to be too pointy, a little bit cutesy, if that makes sense. Maybe like so. Okay. Yeah, do you agree? You can do it differently. But let me zoom in a little bit now. Let me see. So, what did I do? I hope this is okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to take that stippling tool. And let's go ahead and actually start the timer again, because I want to see how long it'll take me to actually whip it into shape or bring it into a texture that looks like sort of flaky croissant dough, right? So I'm starting the timer now. You're with me? Boop. Okay. So what I'm doing now, I'm taking the needle tool. Let's see. And I'm trying to just stipple it. Worst case scenario, if we find this too harsh, we can always switch up to a toothbrush. Actually, maybe we should do that, because polymer clay really holds the detail very well. So as you can see, I already have kind of holes in here, and nah, I think this is too much. Maybe the dough is too soft now, so I'm using the toothbrush to work it. Maybe I should just lift it like this. I hope it's focusing. So I'm trying to give it a little bit of a flaky, doughy appearance, since croissant dough is like a very flaky, actually layered pastry. It's like an airy pastry that is being done by layering lots and lots of super thin rolled out sheets of dough on top of each other. I don't know, I'm not too happy with this. I'm kind of spoiled. Been working with air dry clay for so long when it comes to making food that I'm not used to polymer clay anymore. But that's not gonna stop us. We're gonna be fair here. I'm gonna point out my deficits and skills. I think the mixture works both. I think this needle tool does a good job. And also one more thing with polymer clay, you will notice that your finger imprints will stick to the clay. So some people like it. They find it endearing. It's like a personal touch by the artist. Gives it life, gives it like a human element. Some people don't like it. I personally don't mind. Okay, so now it's a little bit texturized. It looks almost like air holes, right? Okay, now here comes the tricky part. Let me see which one will work best. We have the tissue blade and we have the X-Acto knife, right? So what I want to do is basically cut in. Gosh, I hope this is not too dirty. Nah, that would be just my luck, me transferring dirt into my creation. But yeah, so what I want to do is basically make lines, diagonal lines like this, to give it an appearance of a folded. Oh, this is not good. Okay, not working with this. Let's try the needle tool. Okay, better. So you see that? It's supposed to look like it's been folded in, and then we do it on the other side like this. And try to work in 180 degrees, because obviously this is a 3D charm. And then you just slightly press. And this is the beauty actually of polymer clay. It will hold the shape. It absolutely will. Okay, how'd you like that? Now I need to have a look at a croissant. Let me pause everything and come back to you. It took us so far 4 minutes and 6 seconds. Continue. So I want to make 2 smaller grooves on the side, and maybe I will use this thinner detailing tool for that. So it's basically going to be like this. Like thinner, I don't know what this is called, like ridges, like that. Okay, let's make another one. And man, I have tried making croissants in real life, edible ones. Oh God, that was a disaster. And that was like the Pillsbury dough. That wasn't even like homemade dough. And here I am making polymer clay croissants when I can't even do it in real life. Isn't that ironic? Yeah, and as you can see, because of my body heat, I have very warm hands. We have an indenture here for my fingers, so you know what? Let's be fair. Let's put it on a cap. Let me make sure we are still in focus. Okay, I think that might work better. Like I said, I'm trying to be as fair as I can be. This is also better because now I can swivel it around. That's, by the way, here. This is just a bottle with varnish from Japan, and it works like a charm. You just use it as a holder and your stuff sticks to it. And then you don't need to completely touch it all the time and heat it up. See, I already lost my texture. I lost the texture due to my body heat. That's one of the cons when working with polymer clay. Your body heat or the temperature of your environment will affect how the clay forms. I don't want to say melts, but I think you know what I mean. Okay. So, and then I want to make another one, like another bigger piece here. I'm taking the bigger needle and we will space it out a little bit. But to be honest, you know, the body temperature and the temperature of your environment also affects air dry clay, obviously, because it will facilitate evaporation of the water that's inside the clay. So neither clay has an advantage here, really. Okay, here's a thicker one. Let's do it here as well. I'm trying to be symmetrical. Maybe like so. I really have a lot of respect for the artists that do this for a living, that literally bang out dozens and dozens of charms every single week or month and sell them on Etsy. I don't know how they do it. Like, I'm good. After one charm, I'm totally good. I'm like, yep, that was exhausting. I'm tired. My neck hurts. It's the neck pain for me. Let's also dent this in a little bit better. It's the neck pain for me. I have one charm, I'm good. And sometimes, you know, a friend comes by and says, oh, I love your charm. Can you make me one? I'll be like, yeah, maybe. If you pay me my massage therapist because my neck hurts. But maybe I'm doing something wrong. Okay, and then let's do those thinner ridges as well, just a little bit. Let me know for future if you actually enjoy that detailed sculpting or if it's boring you to tears. Because if you find it boring, then I can just speed it up, no problem. No problem at all. I just want to show you in real time. I need to do one more. How long it takes. So you have a better understanding of what clay to choose for your next project, if it's gonna be air dry clay or polymer clay. Now, I'm done sculpting. It took me 8 minutes, almost 9 minutes. Let's stop. So there you are, the minutes for making the clay, like the color for just this tiny piece, and then also sculpting. I need to add it up in post-edit because I forgot the first number, but it's probably definitely around 20 minutes, just that. Okay, let's pause right now. Okay, I'm back. Now we have to shade our croissant, and here you actually have multiple options. I'm going for the first option, which is shading the clay while it's still pliable with pastel colors, or in my case, I'm preferring actually, yeah, eyeshadows. Look, I have a very affordable eyeshadow palette that I picked up a long time ago, but it has those perfect, how should I put it? It has like those perfect food colors, pastry colors. It's even called something with coffee. So I'm using that. If you don't have this, or if you don't have eyeshadows at all, or eyeshadows that are just too bougie to use, no problem. You can also use pastel chalk. Mine are not very soft, so I would always have to grind it down, and it's quite messy. And since I'm happy with my eyeshadows, I figured, you know what, let's just do it with eyeshadows. But you can totally use pastel chalk, and I'm sure you've seen this online already. Okay, let's zoom back in. Here we are, and truth be told, this part makes me always super nervous, simply because once you mess up with the powder, it's really difficult to take it away from the moist clay or the uncured polymer clay. It truly is. And therefore, I would encourage you to always use smaller brushes, like this one is probably too big, and also to always dab off extra to see how much pigment you actually have on your brush. Let me grab a kitchen towel and show you what I mean. Okay, I'm back. So what I do is I basically start with the lightest shade, because if you think about a croissant, you know that it has this goldeny brown warm color, and then on parts that are more exposed to the heat, the color turns more brownish, and we're trying to emulate that. So before I do anything, I just wipe off my brushes. Those are eyeshadow brushes, very inexpensive ones from Essence. Just take any that you have. And as a rule of thumb, the fluffier the brush, the more dispersed the color gets, the more of a, how shall I say it, like a softer blown out effect you have, and the denser and more compact the brush is, like a flat brush, for example, like this one. This will give you a very, very opaque finish, and it's definitely gonna be streakier, if that makes sense. So what am I gonna do? So I'm picking up this guy because it's fluffier and I wanna make more of a wider spread color. So what I wanna do is I'm taking this beige color, and I first wanna test it. Please test. You just wipe it off. Just wipe it off on your towel, and you see how much color it picks up. This is dry, so you know it's gonna stick quite well to the oily clay. So just go in, can dab it off once, and here we go. Let's see if it colors anything. Okay, I guess the eyeshadow color is very close to the dough color, dough clay. So I think we can be a bit more generous. Nope, that's not too bad. And I don't think I want my croissant to be super crunchy. Let's see. Okay, that looks more fruit-like. And of course, because we're working with clay, every little tiny speck of fluff is sticking to it. But you know what? Don't freak out. That's just part of the process. If they're like really offensive parts, then we can always try to fidget them out with a needle tool. Okay, now, I think I want to go for this orangey brown color and mix it with the beige one. It's making me nervous. So let's go in, dab, dab. Test, always test. Oh wow, you see, this is pigmented AF. So let's just, you know what, let's just brush it off and go like this. So maybe now I should focus more on the high points, and I want to switch up the brush. Actually, I'm gonna rub it into the excess, because I kind of want to accentuate the ridges more. Because if I remember correctly, that's where they tan anyways, fastest. No, like when you get them out of the bakery, they are kind of browner on the edgy side of things. I cannot talk today. Edgy side of things. Okay, whatever. Okay. Do we like it? I don't know. Maybe we should just mix it up with a little bit of brown. So mixing beigey with the brown, which is a little bit cooler. Then we tap it off. Yeah, I'm not a fan. A bit more orange. Look, our paper is acting as a mixing palette. And I'm adding a bit more beige. Like I said, I'm not an artist. I'm just a clay enthusiast. So where do we place this now? I want to focus more on the middle part here. Ugh. And also, I'm trying to keep the ridges, the grooves we created, a little bit more free of the powder. So maybe that would be a good time to switch up to a even smaller brush. This one is ugly. Will it do the job? I don't know. Let's try. I need a tinier brush. I need to actually go through my makeup stash and have a look if there's any brush that needs to be retired from my face. To be honest, I was eyeballing the Tamiya Japanese food coloring palette, the one the pros use, and it's impossible to get where I live. I need to get in touch with the distributor, which I will, just to ask if I can purchase it through them, or maybe worst case scenario, can try to get it from Amazon Japan. I think I tried a few months ago and they wouldn't deliver because of the distributor that is in my area. Okay, you know what? Personally, I'm happy with the result. I think it looks like a croissant. Also the coloring. And I feel like the more I will go on, the more I will ruin it. Like I said, I'm just a clay enthusiast. I leave it to the pros to come up with the super nice shadings, and maybe next time I will try pastel chalk because this is eyeshadow. But I think, honest to God, I mean, it's like a €3 eyeshadow palette or something. It's good enough for me at the moment. I will step up my game, I promise, but this is it. Now this guy goes into the oven. Quick tip from me, I will bake him actually on this tile, and I will also cover him with a tinfoil hat, so to speak. Like I will just put some tinfoil, like a little tent over it, so he doesn't burn up, because that's also another concern with polymer clay. It can discolor, and that would be such a doozy because we spend so much time actually making that color, and then it changes, oxidizes or burns or whatever inside the oven. So let me do that, and then we move on to the air dry clay version of this little croissant guy. Okay, so now we're making the air dry clay creation, the vanilla croissant. And this is actually our package, and this is how our air dry clay comes like, the Gourmet vanilla clay. It's in a zipper Mylar bag, and I have already used mine and repackaged it in cling wrap to keep it super fresh for months to come. This is my secret tip for anybody who wants to work on his or her clay for a longer period of time, and it really works well. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, as you remember, our polymer clay croissant was basically the size of, 75% of this little spoon, and therefore we're going to go in and try to take about the same amount. And obviously I can also go in and take the time again, so we know exactly how long it takes. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna unwrap it and take out a piece. And here you can see what the huge difference is between our gourmet clays, especially with vanilla, and the polymer clay. Because the clay, let me zoom in a little bit, is pre-textured. Now, what does that mean? It means there are some plant fibers inside and also some hollow resin bodies, which give you that amazing dough-like effect. It also dries down, I don't know if you can see that. It also dries down way lighter than polymer clay. Okay, so what we want to do is to give it a good texturizing, a good kneading, to make sure that the moisture distributes well inside the clay. It's homogeneous. If at any time you feel like your clay is drying out way too fast, just spritz it with a little bit of water. And obviously, this little guy we need to put back into his package. So let me do that real fast. Right, so here's the spray bottle just in case. And what I also like to do is to moisturize my hands prior to using air dry clay. I'm gonna use a little bit more than the polymer clay because I know it's going to dry. And when it dries, it loses a little bit of volume. So let's make it a smidgen bigger. Now, same difference or same thing we've done before. We're gonna form a ball of clay. And here I don't need a tile, I'm just working on my silicone mat. And oh, I forgot the timer. Let's do that real quick on the side. Let's time how long it'll take us. So, and here we go. So I'm making my little shape, and what you will find with air dry clay is that you need less pressure. It is way softer, more gentle, and therefore it is a learning curve. I'm not gonna lie here and say, oh, it's the same thing. It's not the same thing. You just gently pull and tickle. That's what I like to say. You just kind of tease it into its shape. No need for hard rolling or conditioning. It's soft and smooth. Okay, so I think I'll go for this shape. Obviously, they're not gonna look identical, but we are trying to make it as close to the thing as it can be. And basically the same process we have done before. I'm going to texture it with the needle tool. Round about like this. And while I'm sitting here making the air dry clay, I can already smell the polymer clay baking. I'm sitting right next to it. In my studio, I have a small oven. Like I said, I come from polymer clay and I treated myself to a small oven. And yeah, I can smell the polymer clay. It's not so pleasant. I hope the fumes are not toxic. I don't know. Oh, by the way, one step we have skipped thus far. Remember, beforehand we were texturizing with the toothbrush and with the needle tool. I skipped that on purpose because of the texture that this air dry clay already has. And I want to show you. I mean, you can always go in and give air dry clay extra texture. That's not a problem, but it would defeat the purpose of me showing how our gourmet clay actually performs and what an uneven texture it gives you. Hope that makes sense. So one thing I notice is I don't have to press so hard with the needle tool. It's way softer. It behaves a little bit more like actual dough. But also, let's be completely honest here, the way this type of resin clay, because vanilla clay is a type of resin clay, it has resin hollow bodies as mentioned, it holds the shape differently. It's not so stark. Remember when I poked the little tiny air holes? into the polymer clay, it was there. It was very crisp, and this is not what this type of clay does. The vanilla clay is not as sharp. So, and I feel like it was a little bit quicker. It does look a bit different, but I'm actually happy with how it looks. I'm gonna keep it like that. Maybe let's give it a roundabout look from all sides. Yeah, I kind of flaked on the back side. Let's do that. It's kind of hard to show on camera. And the air dry clay has not fully dried yet. I'm actually happy with the back on the other side. Okay, so as you can see, it is not completely even. It has like a slightly bumpy texture, and I want to keep it like that. Now, to be fair, we use the same pastels, and let's check in. So this took me 4 minutes. I didn't need to pre-texture it. I didn't need to pre-color it because obviously it already has a vanilla color. So I already saved myself a lot of time. Now, same thing. Let's go in with the other brush. I feel like this one looks a bit puffier and chubbier, like airier. I don't know. We'll see. So we go in again with this. And it also picks up the color very nicely. I think it's because of the water. It's a bit, don't want to say stickier, but the water content definitely draws in the pigment. So use it sparingly. Now we use a little bit of the orangey one. And one thing I also notice when working with vanilla clay is that the hollow bodies, oh, that was too much. Now I messed up. The hollow bodies actually really get nicely accentuated when you use chalk or when you color it. It sticks, the color sticks to it. That can be an advantage, can be also a disadvantage, depending on what you want to create, right? But it already gives it a more 3D texture, if that makes sense, because the surface is uneven, just like the, where's my small brush? Just like the surface of any type of baked good would be uneven, unless you use, I don't know, some kind of like yeast pastries usually have a more uniform surface, a more smooth surface. That's the word I was looking for. Okay. Let's see in the back. I always keep on forgetting the back. And yes, I'm working a little bit faster because obviously we're working with air dry clay. I need to focus a bit better because if I chat away too much and I don't work, I lose the tackiness that I need for the pastels to stick. Yeah, I'm really not an expert with the pastels. Okay, what you thinking? Okay, so we are at 6 minutes. Where is my watch? Where's my stopwatch? Here. 6 minutes 50. Let's make it 7 minutes with chatting. Yeah, done. So with polymer clay, it easily took me 20 minutes-ish to create this croissant. And with vanilla clay, it took me less than 7 minutes. If I was working faster and talking less, probably faster even. And this is the result. Now, unlike polymer clay, which is right now sitting in my oven, this guy will be sitting on my styrofoam mat inside a paper box to dry. Okay, moment of truth is here. We have our air dry clay and our polymer clay croissant. Which one do you like better? They're very different, aren't they? It's kind of hard to say which one is better. They're just very different, and let me point out the differences. So basically, as you can see, This is, by the way, not fully dried yet, but you can, this is the end result anyways. You can basically see that the polymer clay has a very slight sheen. It looks a little bit plasticky. It's nothing bad. It's just what it is. It held very nicely, pretty much every indenture. It looks very crisp, but that might also make it look a little bit less, maybe a little bit too uniform and maybe a little bit too perfect. It's just different, but I love it. And this one is the air dry clay, which dries down matte. Like it will be matte. Obviously, both creations you can sand after drying, you can varnish them, you can, I don't know, add any type of embellishments. This guy here though will stay matte, and also you can see compared to the maybe that was just my skill, but maybe compared to the polymer clay one, the ridges I made look a little bit more organic, if that makes sense. A little bit, I don't know how to explain it, but when you bake something, it actually, you know, the dough rises. There's movement, there's a dynamic in the baking process, where if you ever made a cut into dough and then you bake it, it will get distorted. It won't hold it perfectly. I mean, depending on the batter, but you know what I mean. So it kind of mimics it very nicely. Also, remember how we added those pores? They are there and they're very visible. And here we didn't need to. It already has that kind of uneven, crumbly texture, which I love, and even gets picked up with the application of the pastels. So there you have it. Am I saying choose polymer clay over air dry clay or vice versa? Absolutely not. I think they're both amazing. They both serve their purposes depending on what you want to do with your project. Do you want to wear it? Is it going to be exposed to moisture? Does it have to be heavy or light? You just make your choice. This one, just for final reveal, do you hear that? It's a bit heavy. This one, it's way lighter, and it will become even lighter. There's still a bit moisture left. So this has a very light feel. It's almost like a mixture between paper clay and resin clay, whereas the polymer clay is much denser, much heavier, which has also a nice feel to it. So you make your choice, you make your pick. I hope I could help you. I think I will make another video just dedicated to the gourmet clays that we have in our line. If you're interested, have a look. I'll put everything in the description box below. And other than that, hey, you have questions? Shoot, just let me know what you want to know, and I'm happy to help. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you learned something new, and I'll see you soon. Bye.